Hello, my name is Hakon, and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, friends, family, and other random passers-by. This is very exciting because after the actually really enjoyable experience of playing Talisman of Death, so far my favorite fighting fantasy book for so many reasons. I mean, just the literary qualities were so much better than the other books in the series that I have played so far. I'm ready to go into space again. Yes, I really enjoyed Starship Traveler. I know some people don't like it so much, but just the change of setting for me is quite exciting. And today I am playing Space Assassin, which I haven't played before. I don't know anything about this book. All I know is that it's science fiction, and presumably it takes place in space. And also, there's some assassination going on, or would be assassinations. Um, so, very excited to get started on a new book. Um, yeah, I'm going to wax lyrical about Talisman of Death because it is really, really a good book as well, because you feel like you're part of a story that evolves, and you have interesting characters, and you have lots of choices that you feel matter, and also you have that sense of overbearing sense of destiny as well, guiding your actions in a way, which I think is quite nice. Um, Very Tolkien-esque, but yeah, still a nice spin on a few literary references there. So there's references to The Hobbit, to Lord of the Rings, and to The Lost World, and probably some other stories as well. Um, so yeah. Anyway, I'm not talking about Talisman of Death today. Today I'm talking about Space Assassin. Let's get started. There we are. That is it. That is my desk here with my supplies, as I like calling them. I got my pens, pencil, dice, pad for my character sheet, and pad for my map, and my book. All important, of course, the book. Now, some people do like playing these games from PDF files or digital versions of them. Uh, for me, part of the great appeal for me of these books really is the fact that it's a book. It's a physical object. You can leaf through it. And I've always liked books. Books are fascinating things. It just feels so different to playing it on a device or on a computer. So, oh, maybe I should have a little look at the rules, because this is a little bit different. Let's see. I am an assassin, a highly trained fighting machine. Let's see. Looming above your home planet is the vast hulk of the starship Vandervecken. Aboard it, the crazed scientist Cyrus is planning to unleash a gruesome experiment upon your world, destroying all life as it is known and leaving only hideous mutations in its wake. So the usual thing, basically. Evil is trying to destroy all life, and you have to save the world. Yeah, everything is just normal, isn't it? And this is actually a first edition. That doesn't happen very often with my books. I tend to have second printings of many of them. This is first printing, first edition, 1985. And right, so let's see. Strengths and weaknesses. Let's see. So we got skill, stamina, luck as normal. Skill, stamina, and luck. So we have skill of, I'm going to reroll the one actually. 2, okay. Skill of 8. Stamina of 20. I'll need that with a skill of 8. And luck is 9. So not the greatest abilities. I do not know yet how important they are going to be. So, and let's see, armor. There's an armor score as well. So we got armor. That is a die plus 6. So armor is 9. Whenever you engage in a gunfire duel with an opponent and receive a hit, roll 2 dice. If the result is equal to or less in your armor, your opponent's shot has not penetrated. If it exceeds your armor, your opponent's shot penetrates your armor and wounds you. And each time you roll 2 dice to determine if an opponent's shot has penetrated your armor, reduce your armor score by 1 point. Okay, so it behaves just like lock, actually, in that it goes down as you use it. Okay. Selecting weapons. Let's see. Roll 1 die. This represents how many points you have to spend on weapons. Okay, and additional armor points. Okay, so 1 die, and I roll a 5. Okay. So how does this work now? So you must buy either an electric lash or assault blaster before purchasing anything else. If you roll 3, you may acquire 1 assault blaster. Okay. So basically now I can buy an electric lash for 1 point, an assault blaster for 3, a grenade for 1, gravity bomb for 3, and armor for half a point. So electric lash is a small handgun which projects an electric pulse, inflicting 2 points of damage on your opponent's stamina. Assault blaster is a heavy-duty military weapon which inflicts varying amounts of damage. The amount is determined by rolling 1 die and deducting the result from your opponent's stamina. 1 to 6. Grenade, area of effect, which will cause varying amounts of damage on all your opponents. 1 die for each target. Gravity bomb, a demolition bomb for blasting doors, immovable objects, etc. Consists of a microscopic black hole suspended in a time stasis field. Well, I suppose a black hole is a time stasis field in itself, isn't it? Okay. Hand-to-hand combat. Hand-to-hand combat is the normal fighting fantasy combat. Gunfire is different. So you roll skill to see if you've hit or missed, and then of course it depends on your weapon. Otherwise it is the same as normal combat. If you're involved in a gunfire battle without a weapon, you get 1 point of damage per hit. Recovering stamina, okay. Pep pills, okay. So you have pep pills to pep you up, to give you stamina on this one. So you have, let's see, pep pills. You have 4 pep pills, and they each give 5 stamina back when you use them. Up to 5, of course, never exceeding the initial level. Maximum number of items. Well, that's one that you don't usually get in these ones. So max items, I'll just put a reminder there, 5. Not including weapons. Okay. So now spending my 5 points for weapons. Now it sounds like an assault blaster is a good thing to get. So assault blaster, which gives me, so that's 3. Yeah, no, I don't need to put the score there. So that's 1d6 damage is of course how much it does per hit. Maybe I should invest in some additional armor as well. So I've got 4. I can get 4 more points of armor. Is that maximum 12, does it say? Doesn't say. Okay, so I'll assume that it can go higher. So I'm going to get 13 armor as well. I think that is it. Somebody has used the character sheet very lightly here. Okay. Right, so that's us started then. So all the differences have been sorted out. Okay, mission briefing. That's a new one, not background, like it often is. For some time, Cyrus, the tyrannical ruling scientist of Odd, your local sector, has been harassing your home planet with his warped minions, destructive robots and evil creatures almost certainly of mutant origin. Yes, nasty. His most usual crime has been to descend upon your planet and kidnap innocent victims upon whom it is reputed he practices his malign experiments and surgery. In any event, his victims are never seen again. Now, however, word has been received. This is basically like a normal fantasy thing, isn't it? With an evil wizard, warlock, or something, and just in space. Anyway. Now, however, word has been received that he intends to use your entire world for one gruesome biological experiment, in which he will cover the surface of the planet with radioactive isotopes while showering deadly viruses upon all living creatures. The time has obviously come to stop him. To this end, the authorities have appealed to the Planetary Assassins Guild, which has selected you to penetrate into Cyrus's huge starship, the Vanderwecken, capture him and bring him to justice. Capture him? Okay, that's original. So I need a bounty hunter, not an assassin, I guess. Anyway, so armed with the latest and deadliest weapons, trained in 27 different schools of alien and human martial arts, protected by the best in sensomatic armored pressure suits, you set off searching for the Vanderwecken through the local star systems, and eventually catching up with it in a relatively isolated system some light years from your home world. It seems to be in the process of refueling and taking on supplies. You decide that your best bet is to smuggle yourself on board the ship's supply shuttle and let that take you to the Vanderwecken. Now turn over. That is a very brief briefing. Right. Secreting yourself aboard the Vanderwecken's supply shuttle, you travel from the planet's surface to dock with the main ship. As the shuttle approaches the enormous spacecraft, you clamber into an emergency escape airlock and await the sounds of contact. Let's put that down here. Number 1. You check your spacesuit and weapons, then rest your hand upon the door release, its hair trigger mechanism ready to snap down and hurl you into the void. In your headset, you can hear the ship's computer counting off the seconds until contact. When it reaches 0, you pull the door release and fly out low over the Vanderwecken's silver hull, while behind you the shuttle rests like a tiny dart beside the bloated ovoid of its mothership. As you skim a few meters over the hull, you notice a small iris airlock, your target, ahead of you, protruding slightly like a black disc. Throwing out a magnetic clamp, you bring yourself to a halt. Floating lazily over the airlock, your shadow cast starkly in front of you. After a few deft movements on the airlock mechanism, the iris dilates. You step inside, seal the entrance, and fill the airlock with air. You are in the Vanderwecken. Stepping out of the airlock, you find yourself at the end of a short corridor which is blocked in front by an impassable security door. Each wall has a small maintenance hatch, across which the legend "Caution" is boldly stenciled. On the steel floor by the security door is a small pile of what seems to be organic refuse. If you have a gravity bomb, you could use it to blast your way through the security door. Otherwise, you could examine the left or right maintenance hatch, or take a look through the pile of refuse. Okay, so 3 options. I don't have a gravity bomb, so we have 20, 58. So 4 options. So 20 is gravity, grav B. I'll just put for gravity bomb. And then it is door to the left, 58 L door. or hatch, really. 77 right hatch, or 39 refuse. I suppose I'll look through the pile of refuse first of all, in case there's anything interesting there. The pile of refuse, on closer examination, turns out to be the body of a tiny hunchbacked alien critter. Rags that were once clothes wrap its skin, and its 6 bony limbs lie tangled beneath it. A trail of blood indicates that it must have crawled out of the right-hand maintenance hatch. Rolling the creature over, you notice that it has an electronic device clasped in one hand. Its finger is on the button, and bright wires lead up the arm and disappear into the remnants of a sleeve. Will you remove this device from the body or leave it alone? It sounds like some kind of bomb or explosive device, doesn't it, just? So we've got 2 options. Remove device, remove, or leave alone to 34 and leave. Okay. So he came from the right maintenance hatch looking like that. Does that mean the right maintenance hatch is dangerous? I don't know. I'm going to try to remove the device from his body. I may need to roll for luck for this one. The device is a small black square with a large red button set into it. The wires leading from it attached to a portable power source. Nothing happens when you press the button. That's not how you test things with buttons, is it? Oh, let's see what happens. Yes. As you can see... yes. And as you can see, several other places where some other widget is meant to plug in, you deduce that the device is incomplete. You put it in your pack, leaving the alien. Okay, so I've got a device, alien device. Let's call it an alien device. So black/red button. Okay. Will you examine the left hatch or the right hatch? So, okay. Maybe I should go down this way. So it is like so, so. Okay. And he came from the right hatch looking like that. So I'm going to go down the left hatch, I suppose, or examine the left hatch first of all. Let's see if that is somewhere that can lead me to something. After some difficulty, you manage to open the hatch, which, due to an oversight on some technician's part, falls off and drags a large mass of high voltage wiring with it. Test your luck. My luck is 9. I roll a 10. My luck goes down to 8, and I am unlucky. Let's see. So, test luck. So I'm unlucky and I go to 93. Okay. You are a trifle slow. Yeah, just a tad. Yeah, just a smidge. Just a trifle slow in leaping backwards, and thus get lashed by a 77,000 volt cable. How many amps though? That's the big question. Sparks cascade off your pressure suit as it absorbs the current. Lose 1 armor point. 77,000 volts. Okay. That wouldn't, yeah, I'm not going to say anything about that. Okay. -1 arm. That sounds very bad, doesn't it? -1 arm. Yeah, that means 1 armor. Okay. So armor is down to 12. The hatch is obviously impossible, so you turn your attention to the other maintenance hatch. Okay, so that is actually something just to be avoided. So that means that, oh, and I've been writing in the wrong place, haven't I? So it's, here is -1 arm is there, but the whole left hatch should just be left alone. And so there we are. Right hatch. This hatch opens easily to reveal a long dark access tunnel crammed with conduits and aluminium latticework cutting through the ship. You climb into it and work your way slowly forwards, coming eventually to another maintenance hatch through which you can hear a muffled gurgling voice. Excuse me. The tunnel leads on into the darkness. Will you open the hatch or continue down the tunnel? So we have two options. I'll just move them up a little bit here. So 103 hatch or 134 continue. I'm going to open the first hatch I get to because I feel like I need to play this a few times before I get it all right. So the hatch leads into a small lockup occupied by a faceless humanoid robot armed with an assault blaster and guarding 2 cells. The gurgling voice you heard is emanating from the first of these, and the robot does not seem to have noticed your intrusion. Would you ignore the room and continue up the tunnel or attempt to destroy the robot? Alternatively, you could attract the robot's attention and try to engage it in a conversation concerning what it is guarding. So we have 2 options there, and so that is, where is it now? Yes, so 228, destroy all robots, or conversation 192, conversing with the robots. Okay, conversation. I'm going to converse with it first of all. Let's see if that works. I say, you say, to attract its attention. Before you can finish, however, the robot spins, aims, and fires. The blast smashes into the tunnel behind you and showers the area with molten metal. You will have to fight it. So much for talking. I say. Yes. That's not how you start a conversation, is it? I say. Right. As you have the hatch for cover, you may lob a grenade in at the machine. Yeah. Guard robot, skill 7, stamina 6. Okay, so this is a gunfight, clearly. And he is, I've got 820, and he has got 7-6, and so I've got a 1 skill advantage. I'm going to roll, he rolls a 5, and I roll a 9, so that is me hitting him with my assault blaster, which does 1 die of damage, so he gets 3 damage. And the next round, he rolls a 7, I roll a 4, so that means he hits me. How did the armor thing work again? I'm just rolling against armor every time I get hit, don't I? Let's see. Whenever you engage in a gunfire duel, receive a hit, roll 2 dice. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to roll against my armor, which is 12, so that is a success. And my armor goes down to 11. And that means I didn't take any damage that round because my armor sorted it out. Next round, he rolls a 6 and I roll an 11, which means I hit him for 1 die of damage. I roll a 4, which means he is then dead. Okay. And if I defeat it, it says turn to 264. So let's see. So he's a 7-6, and we go to 264. Now, what he guards may, of course, be even more dangerous than he is, so I'll have to be a bit careful now. The robot terminates. If you don't already possess one, you may add the machine's assault blaster to your weaponry. Okay, so I could have had an assault blaster in addition to something else. Interesting. I'll put that to assault blaster. You climb into the room, the only sounds now being the crackle of small circuits popping in the robot's chest and the odd stifled cough from the first cell. Which cell would you look in first? The one with sounds emanating from it, or the silent one? Okay, so we have two options. So 63 or 380. So silent sound. I'm going to look at the silent one first. The second cell appears to be empty, but when you enter, a screaming little... Why am I entering? I was just having a look. A screaming little ball of fur and legs drops from above the door onto your shoulder. It is an imp. You knock it off with a sharp clout, but not before it has damaged your armor with its fangs. I'm not very impressed with this armor if fangs can actually damage it like that. It scuttles back up the wall and glares down at you with red eyes. If you haven't already, you can look in the other cell, turn to 63, or leave the room via the maintenance hatch and tunnel, turn to 134. That is back to 134. So that is obviously then not giving you anything good. So that is armor -1 again. Okay. So now we're checking out the other one, so 63. The cell is occupied by a battered old man with scars covering his arms and bandages and stitches the rest. He starts apprehensively when you open the cell door, but upon seeing the smoking remains of the robot through the narrow entrance, he brightens remarkably, telling you of his kidnap and torture by Cyrus and giving you words of encouragement. He doesn't yield much useful information, though, but he knows a little about the pilot of the Vanderwerken. He's a canny machine, that pilot, the old fellow cackles. Worries about the strangest things. Mind, if he asks you anything about thinking or feeling, say you don't know. That's the safest course. If you haven't already, you can look in the other cell. Okay, so it's a little hint there, I suppose, a clue. So clue, I'll put that. Okay, and then we go to 134. Okay. A few meters down the tunnel, you find another small hatch. Listening, you can hear nothing. The hatch just feels rather warm. You may continue along the access tunnel or open the hatch. Now, the hatch feels rather warm. If it's made of some actually proper material, maybe what's on the other side isn't just rather warm, it's absolutely scalding hot. Yeah. Right, so we have opening the hatch, number 3 there, or continue. 1, 7, 2. Continue, or 3 hatch. Okay, I'm going to check out this hatch as well. I think I'll just do this systematically until something kills me. Through the hatch is a small room with several large steel conduits rising out of the floor and disappearing into the ceiling. It is from these conduits that the heat you could feel through the hatch emanates. Crossing the room, you come to a sliding door, which you open a fraction and peer through the gap. Before you is a large and, for aliens, fashionably furnished room. Odd couches and chairs, tables at just the wrong heights, and lights set to just the side of 2 blue. Just this side 2 blue. Seated reading from electronic resource sheets are 2 rodent-like Fosniks. Their white lab coats and tiny pince-nez for their equally tiny eyes betray them as being technical types. Would you enter the room and either threaten them or attack these hench beings of Cyrus, or leave them alone and return to the access tunnel? Okay. Right, so we have either go back to the tunnel, or I'll just move over here now. So attack or threaten. Two options, attack or threaten. Okay. Threaten or attack. I'm going to go and threaten them, I suppose. You take them completely by surprise. They fall to the floor, raise their paws in supplication, and beg for mercy. We are but humble scientists, they squeak. Have mercy, don't kill us. You ask them where Cyrus is, but they claim ignorance, saying that they just work in the lab down the corridor. Here they indicate a security door behind a decorative screen, and that Cyrus seeks them out when he wants, not they him. You force them to strip and then tie them up. While they are stripping, you notice that each wears a small narrow cylinder on a long chain around its neck. When you inquire what these devices are, they inform you that they are electronic keys to open the security doors on board the ship. Okay, well, this sounds like a good thing to do then, in that case. Using these keys, will you proceed through the security door in this room, or will you return to the access tunnel? So, that means I could go there, or I can choose to go to the 98. Okay, so 98. So we get keys. So keys. So now have the security door key. Okay, that's useful. Right, so 98. The door opens onto a long, well-lit corridor. After proceeding down this for 100 meters or so. Okay. Did I choose to go that far? Oh well. You come across a sliding door on the left, while the corridor continues into the distance. Will you open the door or keep following the corridor? So we got door or corridor. 174 door or 229 corridor. So I'm going to open the door and have a little gander. Through the door is a small kitchen and dining area. Once again, everything is decorated in an alien style, designed to make human behavior difficult. Is it designed to make human behavior difficult? No, it's not. It's designed to make alien behavior comfortable, and therefore, just by chance, it just happens to be uncomfortable for humans. Come on. The food that is available on the Mealomatics is, without exception, unpalatable and raw. You do, however, find a couple of high energy bars, which you may take with you. They count as a single item for pack purposes. So we have energy bars. So energy bars. And they have 5 stamina. Okay. So that's like a pep pill in that case. Although I should use them first, of course. Leaving the kitchen, you return to the corridor and proceed along it. So we have here, we have energy bars. Five stamina. Okay. Ugh. I put it in the wrong place again. I'm putting... yeah. Good thing I used pencil this time. Okay, so energy bars. And that's +5 stamina. And there we are. And then I can go down the corridor. Interestingly, I can't go back to the hatch and the service duct, but there you go. I don't need that at the moment, perhaps. 229. The corridor ends in a circular room occupied by a squat, armless tripedal robot. This robot, which has a pair of electric lashes projecting from its chest, squawks as you approach. Halt. Inspection point. Will you attempt to bluff your way past the machine or simply attack it? Not sure bluffing would work. I'm sure there would be some... Well, maybe the key will work. Maybe the key will actually work to let me pass. So 301 bluff or 211 attack. I'll always try bluffing, I suppose, first. Let's see if that works. You try to pass yourself off as a security guard, just on a routine tour, you say. Checking IDs. Not ideas. The machine muses for a bit before saying, I'll have to check with Central, just hold on. In that case, that's where you should attack it. It sits silent for a moment, evidently in contact with another section in the ship. Then, without warning, it attacks, and one of the shots slams into you. Lose 1 armor. Okay. 9. You will have to fight it to turn to 211. So that is... Bluffing is the wrong choice. -1. And 211. In the fight, the robot will fire twice per combat round, each hit doing 2 points of damage to your stamina. Well, it did have 2 lashes, didn't it? And yeah. Is it possible to have 2? I mean, for you, is it possible to have 2? Because 2 lashes, if you can have 2 lashes, that would actually be much better than having... doesn't actually say. It doesn't say if you can have 2 of them. Well, that would actually be a better option maybe than having an assault blaster. Anyway. So 7, 6, and asterisk for special rules. And if you win, or if you defeat it rather, go to 247. Okay. So we have, I've got 820. He has 7, 6 again, same as the other robot. So I've only got 1 skill point advantage. Let's see. So he rolls an 8, I roll 4, so he hits me. Actually, he will roll twice, I suppose, for each of his... I suppose that makes sense, doesn't it? It doesn't actually say unambiguously whether, but that's what he's supposed to do. But I'll just presume he does 1 for each of his weapons. So, so he also rolls an 8, so he hits me twice. So I will then have to use armor twice to see if he... So, rolling for armor once, rolling for armor twice. I suppose I would have to go down 2 then. Okay, no damage. Now, there are some places here where it says reduce your armor by 1, but what if your armor is already 0? I think that is a good question. Shouldn't that mean you actually get seriously injured? It doesn't actually say anything about 0 armor. Okay. Because you would think some of those things that have actually damaged my armor now are things that would have damaged or injured me if I hadn't had armor. So, yeah. Anyway, next round he rolls 7 and 3. I roll a 9, so that means he misses and I hit him for 1d6 of damage. Ugh. And 5. I'm using luck in combat now with these. How does that work with the gunfire, though? Does not look like you can use lock in combat in this one, which is interesting. Yeah, you can't use lock in combat in this one. That is a new thing. I suppose you have the armor instead, I guess. Right. So next round he rolls 7 and a 10. I roll 6, which means he hits me once. So I roll for armor 7, and I roll a 7, so he does not hit me. After all, he doesn't injure me. Next round, he rolls 7 and a 9. I roll an 8, which means that yeah, because one of my I suppose I should really do sort of one roll first to see if I hit him, because yeah, that doesn't actually work, does it? I suppose because I'm doing 2 attacks almost. I suppose it's like fighting 2 opponents where the one of them is yeah. Okay, I'll just say that I hit him now, because leave some room for interpretation, this one actually. So I'm doing 2 damage. So I'm first going to do one normal attack round and then do 1 extra roll for his second weapon and see if that hits as well. Although really should have a penalty on it. Anyway, he rolls a 6, I roll a 7, so that means I hit him for 1 damage, and then his second weapon he rolls a 6, which also misses. Actually, yeah, no, I don't like how this is not really fleshed out properly, because it says fire twice per combat round, each hit doing 2 points of damage. If you wanted it to be just 1 combat roll, you would say because he's got 2 weapons, it's doing twice the damage. So obviously you must roll twice. But you can't be rolling twice, and because you only fire once, and of course your fire is also a combination of firing and defending yourself against the... Oh, hang on. It's fire combat, so it's not about missing. It actually is about whether you... Oh, I've been doing this completely wrong. You roll against skill. I'm just so used to doing it the old-fashioned way. Okay, let's just start over on the on this combat now. Okay, so let's roll back. So he is... So I started with 10, I believe, yeah. So I got 10. So I got 10 armor, and he is 7, 6. Yeah, I sort of just thinking about normal, because normal hand-to-hand combat or melee combat, of course, then you are talking about defending yourself as well as attacking. But of course, now you're just attacking. That's what you're trying to do. So so he's testing his skill for each of his guns. So he rolls a 6 and 3, so he manages to shoot twice, or to hit me twice, and I roll an 11, so I miss. And so he's got 2, so I had to test my armor twice, and I roll a 7 and a 5, so I'm down to 8. And he does not injure me. Okay, so that next round he rolls for his skill, so he rolls 4 and 4, so he hits me twice. I roll 4, so I also hit him. Let's do my armor first. I roll 11 and 5. Okay, so I'm down to 6, and I also got 2 stamina points of injury that went through, and I hit him for 1 die of terrible rolling on the damage there. Okay, And again, he rolls 5 and 9, so he hits me once. I roll shield. And no, that goes through. So I'm down to 16. And I roll 4, which means that I hit him for 5 damage. Now we're talking. Okay, so right, so that's how gunfire works. I'll get used to it. Right, so I defeated finally, and I go to 247. The robot falls over sideways, thick black smoke pouring from its shell. The room has 2 exits, a security door in front on the opposite side of the corridor entrance and another to the side. Will you inspect the remains of the robot or go through either the door in front or the door on the side? Okay. So we have side, front, and inspect. 80 front, 319 side, or 283 inspect. I'm going to inspect the robot. The robot is a useless hulk, but directly underneath where it was standing you see a floor safe, its button-covered dial previously hidden by the robot's feet. Looking closer you see there are 3 different colored buttons to press to open it, blue, green, and red. Intrigued, you decide to open it. Which color button will you press first? Okay. So I'll just move that up here, perhaps. 1, 2, 3, and we have 399, 385, 376. So blue, green, or red. And this is of course completely random now because I don't know. So green. Turn to 337. 337. Okay. As you depress the button, your world falls apart in soundless explosion. You never see what the safe had hidden. You have failed. So the end. That's how easy you can die. Insta-death. In space. And when nobody can hear you scream, I suppose. That was a very short little thing. Let's see, I've got 50 minutes on the clock there. So I suppose I'll leave that for now and get back to it next time when I play more Space Assassin. So thanks for watching. If you've been watching this far, this was quite a short episode, but I don't know, sometimes shorter episodes are nice too. I know most people, they don't watch that long anyway. I mean, I make episodes of all different lengths now of videos, and even for the long ones, lots of people do not watch the whole thing through, but I do notice that for my fighting fantasy videos, there is about 50% of the people who click on it to view it, they don't watch past the introduction, and the rest they watch the whole thing. So that is quite good. So I must thank you all for watching, all of my loyal followers who actually watch all my videos. Thanks again for watching, and please like, share, subscribe, follow me, join me on Patreon if you like. For the lowest tier is just, I think I'll just put it for $1 or £1, I can't remember which now, possibly plus VAT. Which will encourage me and also allow me at some point, hopefully, to make more videos because I really enjoy doing it. And yeah, I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time, and I hope you will too. Look forward to seeing me again when I play Space Assassin for the second time. So far, it just seems a bit like a normal dungeon crawl, really. Not quite as sophisticated as Talisman of Death. I said I wouldn't go on about it, but yeah, no, Talisman of Death, my favorite so far. So, anyway, different setting. That's nice too, isn't it? Goodbye for now. Bye bye.